Welcome to Truth and Company Podcast. I'm your host, John the Truth Dioria, and today we got a great guest, man. This guy wears so many hats. I don't know how he does it. He's a rapper, he's a singer, he's a songwriter, he's a beat maker, he's a producer, he's a father, he's a promoter, and he's a writer. He just recently wrote a children's book, and from what I understand, this isn't his first one, so we're going to talk to him about that in a minute. But let me bring on all the way from Kentucky, Hybrid the rapper.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing?
What's up, John? Good to be here, man.
I appreciate you taking time to come on.
Of course. I look forward to it. Been looking forward to it, man.
So I just mentioned you wear all these hats, including the hat you got on your head right now. I don't know how you do it, man. How do you have time to do all these things?
Man, I just go hard. For the moment I wake up, I just go hard and work on stuff all day long. Even when I'm at my day jobs, I'm working on something, man. I live and die by to-do lists, and I try to get as much accomplished every day, stay productive, and just try my best to delegate my energy and all my different goals and hobbies.
Yeah, but now you just mentioned your day job after I just listed all that other stuff, and I didn't even mention that. So you have a day job on top of all these other
Man. That's part of all them hats I wear, man. Yeah, actually, I'm a groundskeeper majority of the year until the slow time and usually winter time. And I also substitute teach around my county. So I'm a substitute teacher, a groundskeeper, and of course a musician and a writer.
And you're actually, are you a single? Oh,
yeah.
Are you a single father too?
Yeah. I mean, on paper, definitely, for sure. My son's all grown now, though, so it's a little different. He's almost 24, so I'm
Okay.
I'm just kind of living life, and he's grown and on his own, and I'm sort of in that third phase of life now.
Wow. So did you raise him on your own?
Yeah, I've had help with family at times, but for the most part, I think I got custody of him when he was about 4, going on 5 years old, way back in the early 2000s, and he lived his whole adolescence and teenage years with me, and so yeah, I was a single parent, and he's, like I said, he's going on 24 now, so he's out on his own, and he's about the age now that I was when he was born, so everything's kind of coming full circle.
Okay. So how did you get involved in the rap scene?
Man, a long time ago, back in the late 90s, well, it was several things that became a chain of events. But just like so many kids in the golden era back in the late 90s who fell in love with hip hop, I was just writing rhymes and watching rap videos and collecting CDs and falling in love with certain artists, and really becoming a connoisseur of hip hop and studying it and becoming obsessed with it. Since it was such a flourishing time for rap music and hip hop at that time, and R&B. And basically, a lot of my friends were rapping and writing as well. And I had a group of friends, a really close knit of old school homies, and we were all writing, and I'd beatbox, and they freestyle, and soon I learned we'd find instrumentals on B-side tape cassettes and record our own little demos on a karaoke machine, just experimenting and daydreaming. And so I had a really close-knit group of friends who first to get my first equipment and my first keyboard and drum machine and analog 8-track. I gathered them all up and corralled them all in. I was like, let's try this, let's do this, and let's make it happen. So I was kind of playing the role like RZA did for the Wu-Tang. I was like the guy that got the equipment and learned how to use it, tried my best with making beats, facilitated a studio for everybody to come and do their thing. And so all those group of friends that I had, they all started rapping, and we just made it into a rap group. And we were known as the Basement Upstairs. And we probably started about, I don't know, probably like 2000, maybe 99, 2000, 2001, in that whole era. And we all kind of got obsessed with it, and everybody was on fire with it. So we became kind of known around our town. We started recording our demos and our albums. We started performing. But it was basically just all my old school friends, and everybody was talented. Everybody had their own voice, their own style, their own fashion, everything. We were really an eclectic group of friends, and that's where I got my original start was through the Basement Upstairs, and then it became in more of like a record label and a whole little community of artists, basically. But it was my friends, and that's how I started. Is just falling in love with hip hop and picking up a pen and trying to do it myself. And then I was blessed to have people around me that were to the same things. It just became this chain reaction of this organic thing that just expressed itself and gradually became something.
Okay. So now, does Kentucky, or did Kentucky, have a large hip hop rap scene?
At that time, not so much in my town. You know, my town was more like rock and roll bands and country and bluegrass and karaoke and things like that. So we were honestly some of the original people in my eyes that sort of tried to build a scene in my town. Now I'm right in between Lexington, Kentucky, and Louisville, Kentucky. So those cities had a pre-existing scene and a lot of talent and a lot of big names that came. And I'm also about 2 hours from Bowling Green, which is where Nappy Roots was from. They were like the first group that really blew up and started the country rap scene that eventually became what it is now. So I'm kind of right in the middle of all that. And so my town's the capital of Kentucky, but it's very small. It's just a historic river town. So most people would think Lexington or Louisville would be the capital, but like I'm actually right in between both of them, and this is the capital city. So it's there was a lot of talent in my town, and there always has been, but it was there was no pre-existing scene. You know, there was not venues weren't really catering to it. It wasn't known for that. There was no Hollywood factor. So we just tried old school grassroots, telling people about flowers, selling CDs out of the trunk, you know, word of mouth, as old school type promotion as you could get. That's what we're doing, because this was all early 2000s. So we tried to really build a scene, and it did pop off there for a while over the years. It's kind of fizzled lately for different factors, but I can honestly say that there was a good era in my town of a lot of talent that was motivated and producing a lot of good music. And as far as the rest of Kentucky, mainly Lexington and Louisville have always had a solid scene. There's a lot of people doing it, a lot of big names. Jack Harlow blew up. He's another one. A lot of rock bands, especially in the early 2000s from Kentucky, like My Morning Jacket and Days of the New and Tantric and Hillbillies. And there was all kinds of artists blowing up from Louisville and in the rock scene. So hip hop was kind of like something we all had to join in together and try to build from scratch.
Okay. And speaking of building stuff, tell me what Dub Tape Records and Dub Tape TV is.
Well, Dub Tape is my brand. That at the same time that I was first doing music that I was just talking about, when it came time to trying to bring it all together and create a brand and a label, because that was a generation of indie labels, you know, that when having an indie label in hip hop was really cool, you know, like the Death Row and the Bad Boys and the No Limit and the Suave House and the Rap A Lot Records and all these people that basically started their own label. I was always kind of influenced by that and thought it was cool. So Dub Tape was my original name for my label. It was an indie label. it was all those same guys I was talking about, but then also about 15 members at one time, a lot of singers, rappers, producers, musicians. And over the years, it had its highs and lows, um, to where it was flourishing, and I had a nice cast of people, and we were all kind of in unison, really repping the label and repping the crew. But over the years, a lot of people, diverged and went their separate ways, um, for many different reasons, and I've just kind of maintained that brand and that idea over the years, to where it's a part of me. Since I started it back then, I never let it go. And what dub tape is the era of cassette tapes, when you would make your own mixtapes. I'm not sure if you remember that, but
Oh
it
yeah, I
was when
remember that.
yeah, it was when you had two cassette tapes, and you wanted to make your own little greatest hits or your own little mixtape, and so you would dub one song off this tape onto this tape, or you would take an old cassette tape, or like an old Michael Jackson tape, and you would put tape over top of the holes so you could record over top of it. It was called a dub tape, dubbed, like, because you're dubbing over it, and it became kind of slang for that concept. Which nowadays it's outdated and it's archaic because nobody knows what that is. If I'm talking to the youngsters, but the '90s generation, it was really cool to have that cassette of your favorite songs or whatever. And so I took that idea, and I thought of it like dub tape as far as my collective group of friends and my group soul of friends that I had. Like, if we all had songs on one tape, that would be our dub tape. That would be our greatest hits. That would be our demo for the world. It's like you take all these different songs and all these different people and all these different styles, and you put them together on one tape. So that's what my concept for that label was, and it sort of gradually just became like my brand and my sound, because I tend to use old school equipment in my studio. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but I use really outdated equipment. I've not really. I do go to some studios and use all the fancy plugins and the DAW and the Studio One and the Pro Tools and all that, all those. But a lot of times I tend to use old school equipment, and so it gives my music a little bit of a vintage sound, because the equipment I use is tends to be a little outdated, but I've gotten pretty good with it that I can actually produce pretty good demos and song quality. And then I have people I outsource to if I want to, like, take it up a notch, with the engineering. But so dub tapes kind of become like a blend of my group of friends and my indie label, and that dream of being an indie label and putting all my friends on and shining a light on my cities and all the talent here. It was sort of meant to be like a way that I could put my friends on and do my thing, and build a scene like we were talking about, but also still have like this underground vintage sound going on.
Okay.
So that's where dub tape came.
So I know that you've had the pleasure of working with some well-known artists. So let me know if this is all true. So
Okay.
you've worked with Jelly Roll.
I've opened up for Jelly Roll. I haven't done a song with Jelly Roll.
Well, no, but I
I
mean, you've
opened
been
up.
on the stage, you performed
Yeah,
with him.
yeah, for sure. Long
So
time ago, before he was at the level he's at now, it was at a small bar near Covington and Newport, Kentucky. He was the headliner, and I was just one of the openers. But yeah, it was cool. He was big then, but not like transcending big like now. Back then, he was just like an underground MC. But he was definitely still the headliner. So yeah, he's one of the people that I have opened up for sure.
okay, and you performed with Tang Clan, Dax, and Tech N9ne too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I opened up for Tech N9ne and Wu-Tang Clan, two separate shows, but the same venue. It was at a place called Expo 5 in Louisville, and the Tech N9ne was a great moment because it was his all sixes and sevens tour, and so it was his whole label. And I got a gig opening up for him, which he was one of my favorite artists, so that was a big bucket list for me. and then also the Wu-Tang, that was around 2012-ish. And that was still probably the biggest audience that I've performed for. It was, I never got an exact count, but it was several thousand. And it was dangerously packed in there, shoulder to shoulder, huge venue. I had an amazing slot open up for them. I was like a 30-minute set right before they came on stage. So, I mean, all eyes were on me. It was a really cool 8 Mile kind of moment for sure. And it really solidified people around my area taking me serious because at that time, my label had sort of dissolved and I wasn't working with all the people that I had been. And so I found myself sort of like alone and solo all of a sudden. And I scored that gig and it was a big boost for me because I didn't really know where I was going musically because I had put my solo career on the back burner and I was really focused on my label and I was in a couple bands as well and everything fell apart, and my label dissolved, my bands broke up and I found myself solo basically having to start all over again. And then suddenly I was blessed with that gig and it really amped up not only my own motivation and confidence, but also like the people around me and the people in my town. They were like, "Oh, damn, Howard's shit. He's old enough for a Wu-Tang Clan. This is a big deal." So it was a great moment for me, honestly.
Now, you just mentioned you were in some bands, so I just want to clarify with people. You're not just a rapper, and I'd mentioned that you were a singer, but you actually play guitar too, right?
Yeah, I try to. I try to play several different instruments and also sing as well. And I was in 3 bands, and all those bands I was a front man, so I never really played instruments in the bands. I always just was kind of behind the microphone, but on the side and when I'm doing production, I do like to play acoustic or electric. Um, I can play the keyboard is my main weapon of choice. I've always been a piano keyboard kind of guy, especially when it came to making beats. But I can sample. I can do drum programming. I can play the drums, congas, all kinds of type. Anything. I kind of have that musical Jones to want to. If I see something, I want to play it. But I'm also lucky enough to have a lot of really great producers around me too. So I don't have to produce all the time. I can do it and I do miss it, but I got such amazing producers in my network that they send me everything I could ever want. And so the last several years playing instruments has just been a hobby or something to write songs with, something to just kind of play around with and sing and just enjoy it. But when it comes to actually hitting the studio to do albums, I don't really play many instruments. I kind of let my producers do that and
Okay.
and see what they can do.
But no, you got a few songs coming out this month?
Man, actually, I have a new album that I've been working on the past year. It's called Legacy Tape, and it drops this Friday actually. And it's big. It's a massive album. It's 24 new songs. It has over 20 features. It has every style that I could possibly conjure up. I've been working on it really hard, and I've dropped a lot of singles from it so far. So I've been building up and rolling it out. I have a lot of events coming up, including this interview, and the first listening party is this Thursday, and then the album release party is actually Friday. And yeah, man, I've released, like I said, 6 or 7 singles with videos, and the response has been amazing. And I got a new video coming out this Friday. I'm gonna drop it the same day the album drops, and I'm gonna try to push this album all year and really make it explode because I'm really proud of it. It not only shows everything that I can do, but it shows a lot of the people in my network. I have a lot of features on there, and just really proud of it, man. I put my heart and soul into it. Like it's massive. It's about 80 minutes of music, and I do everything I can possibly do: sing, rap. I mean, there's underground country rap, there's R&B, rap, rock, pop, indie. There's fun stuff. Like everything you can imagine is on this thing. So yeah, Legacy tape drops this Friday actually.
Okay. And then on another note, I brought up in the beginning that you have recently wrote a children's book, but this isn't your first one that you put out, right? You've written other ones.
No, actually, it was my first one. It was. Sorry if I was confused, if I confused about that, but it's called The King Who Forgot, and it's actually my first one. So
Okay.
I've been pushing it for the last year or so, and I sell it at my shows. I did some public readings. I did an audio version. I've got it into a few stores. Of course, it's self-published on Amazon, and I do my best to push it. It's got a hip hop twang to it, so it's kind of like I describe it as being like Dr. Seuss on steroids. It has like a rhythm to it. It shows all kinds of different rap and writing styles. Rhyme patterns and little literary tricks. So it's meant to be performed, it's meant to be read out loud. The response has been really cool over this past year and a half. So, yeah, but I do plan on writing more. I plan on doing all kinds of things, honestly. So, another children's book will definitely happen. I'm in the process of doing a poetry book. Um, Last year I released a poetry album, a spoken word album, and it's actually me doing spoken word, but it's recorded, and so the poetry book is going to match the album. So when you listen to the album, you can read it in the poetry book. So it's going to be
Nice.
like kind of like an audio and a visual type of thing. So that'll be my next written project.
Okay.
And I'm very close to that. And I have some artwork in it as well too. So I'm really excited about that. I'm always trying to dabble in sorts of creative writing. That's sort of my thing.
All right. So you ready for these random 20 questions?
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right.
I have
Question.
no idea what to expect.
All right. Question one. Tell me about your background and your upbringing a little bit.
Well, I was just a suburb kid bouncing around in a single parent home with my mom for through the 80s and bouncing around from city to city and house to house. I kind of had a nomadic type of upbringing, living in a single parent home. But yeah, for the most part, I was living in the town I'm at now in Frankfurt. But we did bounce around. I lived in Mobile, Alabama. I lived in Chicago. A lot of different places around my town, east side, west side, downtown. So I had sort of a nomadic upbringing in a single parent home.
Okay. No, you got no siblings?
Oh yeah, I do. Eventually, my mom had I had a younger brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
So, and then I also have a separate family with my dad's side in Florida, and I have a brother from my dad and a sister from my dad as well. So I have a lot of half brothers and sisters, and they're spread out a
Okay.
little bit. Yeah, so not just me, but in the beginnings, in the origin, it was just me because I'm the oldest.
All right. Question two. What was the last thing you Googled?
David Icke. I was listening to David Icke this morning, so I was on my conspiracy theorist, crazy type of stuff that's definitely in the atmosphere nowadays. I was actually listening to, I'm not sure if you know who David Icke is, but he was one of the original OG conspiracy theorist guys, even like 20 years ago, who was running around talking about all this crazy stuff that's going on now in the world, especially some of the stuff mentioned in, like, let's say the Epstein files or and really fringe type of concepts. But yeah, that's what I was listening to. As far
Okay.
as what he talking about was a lot about transhumanism kind of stuff. How there's a push to turn people from biological to synthetic, with technology and AI and things like that. So I guess you could say it was about transhumanism.
Okay. All right. Question three. If you could hold any record in the Guinness Book of World Records, what record would you want to hold?
This has actually been on my mind lately, and I'm actually thinking about looking into this, but I want to be in there for the rapper with the most albums. And I think I can do it, honestly. I think I can do it.
You said with
I
the
don't know
most.
if I can be in there for the artist with the most albums, because I think there's somebody in there that has an ungodly amount, but it's not hip hop music, it's something else. But I would like to be in there for the rapper with the most albums. And
Okay.
I think I can compete. I think I can compete because every artist that I've Googled who I thought had more albums than me doesn't. And that's an E40, Lil Wayne, MF Doom, Tupac. I got more albums than all those guys. So I think I'm getting close.
How many albums do you have?
Including the one that's about to drop this Friday, and then I'm dropping another one in May with a guy from Detroit. I'll be close to, since 2008, because I sort of hit reset. I don't really include anything before then because it's all sort of lost in the past. But I'm about 65.
Wow. Okay. All right. Question 4. What's something that you're very passionate about besides music?
I like to, I have a few things. I'm definitely passionate about the gym. I'm really passionate about kayaking. I really like playing basketball. I really am passionate about studying metaphysical things and history, and like I said earlier, fringe concepts, conspiracy stuff, alternative. I don't know, alternative history and beliefs. Uh, Comparative mythology. I really love studying religions. So that's one of the things I'm into is sort of self development and also studying. It's kind of
Okay.
a seeker.
All right. Question 5. What's the craziest or funniest story that ever happened between you and a fan?
I actually had one of those moments where a fan who had seen me in a previous show years before found me at a show later in life, and they actually at the old show, at the former show, the first one, they had me sign a shirt. When I saw them at the next show, they had gotten my signature tattooed on
Wow.
them. I
How
wasn't
did
the
that?
only one. I
How
wasn't
did
the
that?
only one though. That was their thing. Is they would get artists signatures, and then they would get one of those certain artists that they really liked. They would get those signatures tattooed on 'em. So I wasn't the only one, but they actually had it, and it blew me away because in my eyes, I just tend to think that's like for the super famous artists, not the indie artists like me, but it happened.
All right. Question 6. If you were a male stripper, what would your name be?
I'm gonna go with the old thing about your middle name and your street name combined. I'm gonna do that. So that would make my strip name be Thomas Cherrywood. That works, right?
Yeah, it works.
That works. Thomas Cherrywood. I might just change my rap name to that actually.
All right. Seeing that you're down in Kentucky, and that's where the Kentucky Derby is, I thought I'd throw this one in there for question 7. If you owned a racehorse, what would its name be?
Hmm. I'm gonna go with my favorite comic book hero. It'd be the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Silver Surfer. Speed of
All right.
light. He would travel speed of light.
Question 8. What's the weirdest rumor you have ever heard about yourself?
Ooh, because I've heard a lot of rumors. Let me think. The weirdest rumor? It would have to be involving some girl. It would have to be. Maybe that I dated some girl or that I tried to talk to some girl, but I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. The weirdest rumor. I've had a lot of. I got it. I had a car wreck back in the '90s, my senior year of high school. So you got to put yourself in 1997. No social media. And in May of '97, which was the last month of the school year, I had had a bad car wreck and a head-on collision actually. So there's no cell phones, no social media, whatever. It's all just word of mouth. So I was off school for a week recovering from the injuries. When I went back to school finally, it was only a few weeks left of school. Somebody saw me in the hallway and came up to me, and it was a girl, and her eyes were like quarters, and she was like, "I thought you were dead. I heard you were dead." Uh, to be the worst rumor is yeah, the past car wreck.
Okay. All right. Question 9. Do you have any interesting Karen stories?
Karen stories
Yeah. You know how
like
like
the nosy neighbor Karen.
yes.
Do I have any interesting Karen stories? I don't know. I guess if it's a good enough story, I'm not sure how to answer that one. I think so. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't really like gossip too much or tattletelling or whatever Karens do, but I mean,
No, I mean, do you
you
have a
know.
story involving a Karen though? Do you have a story where you got approached
Oh,
by a Karen
oh,
or something like that?
oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I'm
Because
sure.
nowadays
I'm
on
sure.
social media, you see these Karens are everywhere, man. You can't even get out of a parking lot without some Karen running up to you saying you didn't put your card away or something.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot, it's probably happened. I'd have to think on that one.
That's
I'd
okay.
have to
That's
think
all
on.
right. All right.
Yeah.
Question 10. Question 10. What is your proudest moment out of your career?
Hmm. Proudest moment, man. Well, there was a in Lexington they do the music awards every year, and I guess it was more than one moment, but it was sort of a run. But the first 3 years that they did it, um, the Lexington Music Awards, I was nominated for Best Hip Hop, and the first 3 years I actually won it. So I had this run of winning the Best Hip Hop in Lexington 3 years in a row. And what was cool about it is not just that I won this award or whatever, it was because I wasn't from Lexington. I was from Frankfurt, and so they're a much bigger city. There's a lot of artists up there, and so I felt it was kind of like this full circle moment that just felt good because I felt like for once people took me serious in my area, like not just in my town, but statewide. And it just all the hard work, and like all the ups and downs and all the losses I've taken and all the bad moments, it sort of just alleviated all that for a moment because it just felt like I persevered through all these changes and all these ups and downs throughout all that time, with all my old school friends and all the times that I wasn't getting anywhere with the music and all that. And to win that 3 years in a row, uh, in a different city, a bigger market, it felt really good. Now it made me feel like all my work kind of paid off, or at least was noticed.
Okay. All right. Question 11. What animal best fits your personality?
Hmm. Well, I got a lion behind me. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can
I
see
tend
it.
to think that's a little bit, but I don't know, man. I got a couple animals I like. I like hawks. I kind of really like hawks. Anytime I see a hawk on the side of the road just chilling up there all alone, just posted up, I kind of like that. Um, yeah, but I think personality wise, I'm not a violent person. I'm a real I don't like confrontation and violence and all that. So I probably got more like a dodo bird kind of vibe going on. I don't know, man. I got like a groundhog vibe going on. I like to think that I'm like this lion up here, or I'm like this, predatorial, hardcore badass. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of chill.
Okay. All right. Question 12. If you could gift one person $1 million, who would you give it to?
Probably my son. Probably my son. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that'd be a good legacy to leave behind.
All right.
Here you go, man. All them years I raised y'all Pop Tarts. Here's $1 million.
All right. Question 13. If you had to go on a cross country road trip and you had to choose one comedian, one musician, and one athlete to go with you, who would you choose?
Woo, man. I thought Chappelle, he's not only funny, but he's smart and he's chill. I think David Chappelle would be a good one. Athlete wise, I'd say Dominique Wilkins because he was my favorite NBA basketball player. And he was like my first, let's say, quote unquote, athletic idol. He was like when everybody was rooting for Jordan, I was rooting for Dominique. And musician, huh? I think E40 would be fun to hang out with. I think E40 is super super cool. He's one of my
Okay.
favorites. I think he would be. I think that would be a cool combination of people there.
All right. So, all right. Question 14. If you could star in a movie with any actor, who would it be?
Mm. Star and movie. Man, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Tom Cruise, man. I'm gonna have to go with Tom Cruise because I know if Tom Cruise is in it, it's gonna be a big time blockbuster.
Okay. All right. Question 15. Who is someone in your life that has inspired you outside of the music scene?
I would say my grandmother. She was one of my. I mean, she was like my favorite human being, and I say her because just the way she showed everybody like endless compassion. She was just one of those bright souls that no matter she always was there for everybody, like nieces, cousins, uncles, aunts. She was like the cornerstone of the whole family tree, and she just had a way of no matter who it was, she would just show you love. And you could be a stranger off the street, you could be a friend of a friend, it didn't matter. She had the same energy and the same vibe to everybody, and to me that's admirable, especially in today's world when everybody's so standoffish and polarized. So
Okay. All right. Question 16. What's your favorite board game?
man, I really like chess. I'm a chess guy. I think all in all that's probably my favorite one, and no two games seem to ever be the same. It's almost a mental experience with whoever you're playing with. Good conversation can come of it, or no conversation at all. You could just be strategizing. I think chess is probably my favorite board game.
Okay. Question 17. What kind of things do you do to give back to your community?
Well, for years, I just tried to build a music scene. I tried to book a lot of people, bring different styles of music together, have a lot of showcases, some of them being fundraisers, some of them just being for the music. Um, so that was always kind of my goal was to build a scene, but then also shine a little light on all these different artists in my area. But now I'm not doing promoter as much. So I think when I substitute teach, that's kind of what I feel like is one of my things that I like about it. I think that's a moment that I can just come in and kind of be a good influence for the kids. Um, or if anything else, be a cool sub for them. Obviously help them when I can in that little bit of moment I'm there. But I feel like I provide a good influence to whether it's middle school, high school, whatever it may be when I'm there. you know. So when I'm subbing, I feel like that's one way that I can kind of give back a little bit. Plus, giving them teachers a break because I'm sure they need.
All right. Question 18. Do you have any tattoos and what are they?
Yeah, I got some tattoos. I got a little collage here and some here, some spread out, but mine are all little cryptic symbolism type of thing. Each one of these little things has a meaning, but this one's kind of a got some stuff musically. I got a tape cassette here. That's for my dub tape. Um, a lot of these are symbols from different groups I was in. So it's almost like a mixture of things I like and then also my music. I got the Silver Surfer back here. You can't see it, but I got him there. I got my lion, similar to the lion that's behind me. I got my son's name. All types of different little things. There's probably 30 or 40 mixed in there, but just little
Okay.
cryptic symbolism.
All right. Question 19. I'm going to take you back a little bit. So I need you to think for me. Question 19. Who was your high school crush? And do you have any idea where she is or what she's doing today?
Let me move over here. High school crush. Well, I had a first love in high school, so I was kind of in a relationship. Let me move over here. I don't know, that light's crazy. I was in a relationship in high school. So first crush was my first love, and as far as what she's been doing ever since, I think just having kids. Honestly, I think having kids and maybe got married. So yeah, I mean, I had some crushes, but I was also, you know, with a girl back in high school. So
Okay.
yeah, man, life. I think she's probably had a husband or two and a kid, a couple kids since then.
Okay. Question 20. If you could change one thing in our society right now, what would it be?
The violence, man. Too much violence. Too much depravity and sick and twisted, violent, nasty things going on. Too much. I can't even scroll without seeing something pop up that just makes me lose faith in humanity. And not really anything new. I mean, it's, you know, the world's been a violent, bloody place since the beginning of time, but the way that it's broadcasted with social media now, it's just it's not good. You know, there's a lot of pain. People going through a lot of pain and a lot of violence that ruins lives and um, hurt, injures people, and a lot of fighting, lot of shootings, stabbings. You know, obviously war. Historically and globally, it's just so much violence, man. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's bad programming up here or if we got a malware in the planet. You know, I don't know what it. I don't know if it's. I don't get it. But yeah, that'd be one thing that I would change is the violence and the yeah
Okay.
the violence.
Well, listen, that's the end of our random 20 questions. I hope you had fun with them. I appreciate coming on the show. If you want to promote your up and coming album one more time, and if you got anything to say to your fans, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I appreciate you doing this interview. I had a blast. I really like the 20 questions. And good luck to you with your future endeavors. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And new album drops on all platforms this Friday, early in the morning. It's called Legacy Tape. And it'll be on Bandcamp as well. But it'll be on all platforms. If you wanna purchase it, Bandcamp, if you want to stream it, just go to any of my platforms and it'll be there and it'll be available. And I hope everybody likes it. And then, like I said, it's 24 new songs. anything and everything that I can do is on that thing. So this Friday, biggest album of my career. So any support is appreciated.
All right, and you want to say anything to your fans?
Hey, I appreciate y'all sticking with me and stay tuned. I got tons of stuff coming. Like I said, I'm dropping another album in May. I got about 100 songs on my desktop just ready to release, so I'm gonna keep dropping it, keep dropping content and music videos, and stay in the loop with me and stay tuned. And I appreciate all the love that you've given me throughout the years. So I'm just glad that y'all are here.
All right. And with that, the truth has spoken. Hold on.